The FTX Banzai has had a bit of a makeover and it's now this awesome green colour. Previous to this, the only colour available was this red, which is still good looking, but now you got two colour options to choose from. I think I like the green. I'm not usually a big fan of green. I just think it pops maybe a little bit more than the red. Anyway, nothing else has changed with it. It's still the same 1/10 scale, 4-wheel drive, drift car. It's not a drift car because it's 4-wheel drive. Let's just have a little chat about that. Right, so on the bench we've got 3 different drift chassis. We'll first look at the Banzai, then we'll look at that 4-wheel drive one and I'll show you the differences. Then we'll look at a 2-wheel drive chassis that people will tell you is a proper drift car. And then we're going to run this and then you can tell me if it's a drift car or not. You'll have to excuse some of the background noise. They're building some new units literally just out the front of this one. So there's like loads of noise going on. There's lorries reversing, there's ugga-duggers going. But we'll just carry on and we'll just ignore all the noise that's going on around us. So this is the FTX Banzai. It's 1/10 scale. It's got a brushed system in it. So it's got a 540 20-turn motor in there. It's got I think it's either a 60 or it might even be like a 40 amp ESC. Waterproof servo, oil shocks as well, and drift wheels and tyres. It's fully adjustable, so you have got adjustable camber and toe, and you've got adjustable camber on the rear. I've not changed anything with this, it's completely stock, other than I've changed the connector to a Dean's or T connector, so I can run it on a 2-cell LiPo, because it just gives you a little bit more wheel speed. But this is completely stock out the box. I forgot to mention, I've also got a set of Fast Tracks. Have just bought out some new drift wheels. They've got about 4 or 5 different styles. I've got some here. We're going to throw these on as well on the Banzai, give them a try in a bit. So that's a basic 4-wheel drive, like touring car chassis with drift wheels. There's nothing else done to it to make it drift. It's got open diffs, front and rear, and like I said, completely stock, like touring car chassis, just with slippery wheels. Now this one is 4-wheel drive as well. The difference in this is a little bit higher end. It's 4-wheel drive, but the rear diff on this one is locked. And it's got a one-way bearing at the front. So what that does with that one-way bearing is obviously when you're driving, it goes around as normal. When you come off the throttle, the front is free to wheel like that, whereas the rear kind of acts a bit like a brake because it's still on the motor. So it's basically like you're doing a handbrake turn. And that makes this one a lot easier to control as a 4-wheel drive drifting. It's not drifting, it's power sliding. And this is what would be classed as a proper RC drift car because it's rear-wheel drive. And this is where you'll see the difference. So that's the Banzai, not much lock there at all. That's the 2-wheel drive one. Then that's the belt-driven 4-wheel drive, a little bit more on that one than the Banzai. So that's one of the differences. You get loads more lock on a 2-wheel drive because you haven't got the drive shafts to worry about at the front. And that will definitely give you better control. So rear-wheel drive is drifting. If you speak to anyone in a drift club, they will tell you that rear-wheel drive, that is the only type of drifting you can do. Now, we could sit here all day and talk about what is drifting, what isn't drifting. If you Google it and look at the definition of drifting, that, or that could be classed as drifting. So I'm not going to argue the fact that it does take a lot more skill to drive or drift a rear-wheel drive car. But at the end of the day, it's all just a bit of fun. So do whatever you want to do and have fun doing it. I think you'll find if you try and take a 4-wheel drive car to some drift clubs, they won't even let you in. That's enough about drifting politics. Let's get this thing fired up and take it on the track. If you want to seriously get into drifting, I do recommend getting a rear-wheel drive drift car and getting yourself out there and having a practice. It's much more rewarding when you get a good slide with one of these than with a 4-wheel drive one. So as you'll see from this, after a bit of practice, you can actually get it sliding really well. It's quite noisy, but you can slide it really well. You just got to get it dialed in. Get that trigger finger, get your throttle finger dialed in, and you can actually slide this thing really well. And at the end of the day, it's just about having fun, and this is loads of fun, especially once you have got used to it and you can drift this thing around really nice. Remember guys, this is stock just on a 2S LiPo. So I'm not the world's best drifter, but I can still slide this thing around relatively easy. Well, he says, relatively easy, even though it's got limited travel on that front steering and it is 4-wheel drive and a basic brush setup. You can still slide it. You can still have fun. I don't care what anyone says. So these come 99% ready to run. All you have to do is supply your AA batteries for your transmitter, and you need 8 of them. Yes, I said 8. That's a lot, isn't it? Right, anyway, let's give you some of my best drift shots now with this FTX Banzai. I'll leave some more information in the description for it. It's an awesome little drifter. I forgot I was going to put the silver fast track wheels on. How cool does this look now with them wheels? Right, it should come standard with them, shouldn't it? That looks awesome. Let's see how they drift. Oh, a bit slidier. So these are a bit harder compound. They actually slide better. Yeah, this slides better with these. Wow, that makes a big difference. So these are rock hard, these ones. I wouldn't call them tyres. They're more like plastic, but man, this thing's proper slippery now. Yeah. Oh, these chrome wheels look way better as well. Yes. Not drifting. We're not drifting. We're sliding. We're power sliding. That wasn't a drift.